Have you ever wondered if your mind could actually heal your body? I mean, really heal it from something catastrophic. Well, today we're diving into the incredible story of Dr. Joe Dispenza, a man whose life-shattering accident led him to a groundbreaking discovery about that very power. So it all started during a triathlon. Dr. Dispenza was on the cycling portion when he was hit by a truck. The result? 6 compression fractures in his spine. The medical verdict was grim. The only option on the table was a surgery he just couldn't accept. His own words really say it all. I couldn't imagine living my life with Harrington rods from the base of my neck to the base of my spine. And look, this wasn't some minor injury we're talking about. This was a true life-altering crisis. He consulted 4 of the best surgeons in Southern California, and every single one gave him the same advice. You need this surgery. But they also told him it would likely leave him with chronic pain and limited mobility for the rest of his life. But faced with that future, he made a totally radical choice. He said no. He refused the surgery. Instead, he decided he was going to put his trust in this unseen innate intelligence that he believed existed within the body. He was going to test a wild hypothesis. Could his mind actually direct his body to heal something that modern medicine said was impossible without intervention? Now, what's so fascinating is that this wasn't just some random leap of faith into the unknown. An idea, a little seed of curiosity, had actually been planted in his mind way before the accident ever happened, and it all came from a book. So years before this crisis, a friend had given him a copy of Autobiography of a Yogi. This book is an amazing introduction to the ancient science of yoga and meditation, and it's filled with these extraordinary stories that really challenge what you think is possible. It planted this tiny seed of curiosity in his mind about the untapped potential we all have. Reading that book had already started to chip away at his purely scientific worldview. I mean, his reaction was basically, God, if that is actually the truth, I am unaware of a lot. It opened his mind to the idea that there was way more to reality than he had been taught, and that's what gave him the courage to even consider this incredibly risky, unconventional path to healing. And so the real work began. This was an immense inner battle. For hours every day, he was lying face down, unable to move, and he gave himself this one incredibly difficult task. He set 2 rules for himself. They sound simple, but they were absolutely monumental. Rule 1, make contact with that innate intelligence inside him and give it a very clear, detailed plan for how to reconstruct his spine. And Rule 2, do not let a single thought slip by his awareness unnoticed, every single one. And let me tell you, this process was brutal. The first 6.5 weeks were what he calls a dark night of the soul. It was a constant war with his own self-doubt, his own anxieties, and a mind that just would not be still. But then something clicked. All of a sudden, the process got easier, coherent. And then, get this, just 10.5 weeks after the accident, he was back on his feet. No surgery, no body cast, healed. Wow. I mean, an experience like that changes everything, right? He couldn't just go back to his old life. He became obsessed with understanding the science behind what had happened to him, and that personal quest sent him deep into studying neuroscience, epigenetics, and even quantum physics. He needed to turn his personal anecdote into cold, hard evidence. So he started by tracking down and interviewing hundreds of people who'd had these so-called spontaneous remissions from all sorts of conditions, and he found these 4 striking things they all had in common. Every single one of them had decided to break the habit of being their old self. They actively reinvented a new self. Their inner world, their thoughts and feelings, became more real to them than their outer world. And they all believed in some form of higher intelligence within them. This research led him to a huge insight, that as human beings, we basically exist in one of 2 states. The first is living in survival. This is when we're driven by stress hormones, by fear. We're constantly focused on the past, and it creates chaos in our brain and body. The other state is living in creation. This is when we're guided by elevated emotions like gratitude and joy. We're focused on a future we want, and it creates order and coherence inside us. So you have to ask yourself, are you living by a memory of the past or a vision of the future? So where do most of us spend our time? Well, research suggests that for the average person, a staggering 70% of their life is spent living in that state of survival, basically addicted to the hormones of stress. 70%. So this is the million-dollar question, right? How do you actually make the switch? How do you get out of survival and into creation? Well, Dr. Dispenza developed a kind of formula, a practical, teachable method to show people how to do just that. using meditation not just to de-stress, but to fundamentally change who they are. The process of overcoming yourself has 3 basic steps. Step 1, you have to become conscious of your unconscious self, all those automatic thoughts, behaviors, and emotional reactions you have every day. Step 2, you have to reinvent yourself by deciding, okay, what thoughts do I want to think? How do I want to act and feel? And finally, step 3, you have to recondition your body to that new mind by mentally rehearsing this new self over and over until it feels more familiar than your old self. And this is where meditation becomes the essential tool. But it's not about just sitting there and emptying your mind. In his model, meditation is the work. It's the practice of becoming so familiar with your old, unconscious self that you can catch it before you default back to it during your day. It's about staying conscious and intentional. And if you're thinking this all sounds a bit out there, well, there is hard data to back it up. In one of his studies, they had a group of people practice feeling elevated emotions, like love and gratitude, for just 15 minutes 3 times a day. After only 3 days, their levels of immunoglobulin A, which is a crucial marker for immune system strength, shot up by 50%. That shows just how quickly your body can respond to a change in your internal state. So how in the world does this actually work? Well, it all hinges on a fundamental principle of the mind-body connection. Your body literally does not know the difference between a real-life experience and one that you just intensely imagine. So through mental rehearsal, you are chemically teaching your body what your desired future feels like, to the point where your brain and body begin to believe it has already happened. And really, this entire journey, all the science, all the stories, it all comes down to one single powerful question that I want to leave you with. It's a question that challenges us to rethink everything we thought we knew about our own potential. If your thoughts can make you sick, is it possible that your thoughts can make you well?